welcome to the Once Upon a Corgi podcast, episode 4. My name is Gabby. You can find me basically everywhere, Instagram, Ravelry, Twitter, as Gabby Gales. We do have a Ravelry group now for the podcast, Once Upon a Corgi podcast. If you want to check it out, we have a good amount of members, nothing crazy. I like it. We're still tiny. Just want to give a shout out to everybody who has started subscribing in the past couple weeks or following me on Twitter or anything. Hello, and thank you for checking us out. Hello to any new viewers. I hope you enjoy and stay. Hello to any returning viewers. It's been nice. Start over. We just want to say we hope everybody had a good holiday season. We had a great Christmas Eve kind of setup going on. We spent Christmas Eve at Jake's dad's house, and then Christmas morning, after we opened presents here, we went up to my parents' house with the puppies, and then we went over to Jake's mom's house for dinner, nighttime-ish, so everything was split up pretty evenly. It was a lot of travel, but it was really nice. It was good to see everybody. We don't see his family as often as mine because I do laundry at my parents' house, so I'm up there pretty regularly. Yeah, it was super nice. We had a good couple of gatherings. The puppies had a blast the entire time. They got to play with Penny Christmas morning. They got to open all their presents by themselves, which consisted of two foot bones, one peanut butter flavored, one bacon flavored, I believe. And then a whole bunch of new toys they could rip the stuffing out. And currently Iron is sleeping on his indestructible squeaky snake, where sticker says if you puncture it, it still squeaks. So he just walks around and munches on it and squeaks and then growls at it. It's adorable. He's using it as a pillow right now. But yeah, this is a knitting, crafting, sewing, puppy podcast / figuring out adult life, I guess, with puppies. We have Audrey and Iron. Audrey's the mother, and Iron is one of 7 of her puppies. And you just saw Jax creep behind the Christmas tree. He likes to sleep in the bottom, so if you see things rustling, it's just him causing mischief. I think you can see him down here creeping. So this is our 4th time trying because the dogs keep going crazy. Oh, there's Iron. Iron, what are you doing? Do you want a cookie? You come sit? You stand pretty? No. Oh, hi, Jax. Oh, now you'll stand pretty. So, yes, I said this is a nitty, spinny, crafty podcast. Yeah, I guess with that, let's get started. So we have finished objects first. We only have 3, but now the Christmas knitting is done, we can start knitting for ourselves again. So, our first finished object is the Verdure shawl by Isabel from the Fluffy Fibers podcast. I did the larger size, and it is, the colorway is Dark Like My Soul in my fig base. So it's 70% merino, 20% nylon, 5% still, 10% stellina? I don't remember. I have it written down somewhere. And because I did the larger size, it is a little bit more than a skein. And I did it on size 6 needles on my Knitter Pride Dreams interchangeable, and I just love the way it turned out. I had some trouble, as you know, with the lace, but thanks to the Lifeline saviors, I made it through and it looks so good. I think there's one hiccup you can spot, but I don't know where it went, so that's good. And it's already been worn 3 or 4 times. I love it. I kind of want another one. I might knit myself another one. It was fast enough that I could definitely see myself pulling out another in a different color, maybe a lighter color, quite easily. So maybe more of a solid, less of the variegation. I think that would look really nice and make the lace pop out a lot more. But I love it. And this was part of my sparkle cowl. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. For Jeanette's The Bookish Stitcher podcast, she had a sparkle knit along that ends at the end of December, I believe. So that was super fun to take part in because I've never knit with sparkly yarn. Now I have. And that was also part of my Make Two Along for Jenny from the Tiny Paper Foxes podcast, where let's just make two things, be it sewing, crochet, or knitting, to go together as an outfit. So the other part, I angered the cat. Other part is I finished my dress. And I wore this on Christmas. And it's just a simple square neckline, 3/4 sleeve circle skirt dress. There is some improvements that could be made in the craftsmanship, but I waited until the night before Christmas to make it, so that was my own fault, basically. Yeah, there's some seam ripping already. I've got a hole in my armpit. I have to redo the zipper. I'm just going to point out all my mistakes. You can't tell. They lined up unevenly, but at 11:30 at night, I just figured whatever. So I'm going to take out the zipper and do it again. Because I do want this to last longer than just 3 or 4 wears. I do want it to become part of my nicer ensemble of clothes. So, it was a good first practice. I'm definitely never going to make a dress without a pattern. Ever again. That was my first mistake. And I'm definitely going to take part in this make a muslin pattern first. And then break into the real fabric. Because I think that will help me save a lot of cut and pasting, really. With making sure... Ooh, oh, I fell. Oops. Making sure it fits properly. So, next dress or skirt I make, I'm definitely going to do that. I do have a couple outfits in the not in the works, in the planning stage. But that will be a segment later on when I get to 2016 goals. We were having our coffee this morning out of our new BB-8 mug that my little brother bought me for Christmas. Oh my god, he's so cute. And this mug is massive. It fits, I want to say 4 cups of coffee with room for creamer. So it's perfect. Perfect for me. Our second work in progress, or not work in progress, sorry, finished object are our blueberry waffle socks. And this was out of the Lamb's Pride Superwash 100% wool in the blueberry waffle sock pattern, which is free on Ravelry. And we did it on our size 0 DPN Knitter's Pride Dreams, which I'm really liking that needle set a lot. I knit super tight on bamboo, but the laminated wood has just enough slip, but not a lot of slip like the metal needles, so it's a good, I think, middle ground if you can't afford the carbons. I still have to weave my ends in. But I did a fish lips kiss heel, and then I did the star toe, which I'm really liking. I want to work on my Kitchener stitch toes. I feel like I just make them too pointy, so I look like I'm wearing stiletto socks. It weirds me out, but I'm excited that now it's actually wintry out, and we have like 4 snowflakes on the ground. I've got some good boot socks. My piles keep changing. And our last finished object you've never seen, because it's been a secret since September when Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast started an S-along in September. So I joined that to start this. And then I also joined another knit-along with the Geeky Knit Girls for their autumnal knit-along. Artistic autumnal knit-along? Something. So, I didn't finish it in time for either of them. I finished it 2 days before Christmas. But I made Jake a sweater. It's the Goat Herders pullover. I don't think it's by Jared Flood. It's from the Brooklyn Tweed line of some sorts. I'll put it in the show notes. It's out of Brooklyn Tweed in their shelter base, which I know there have been a lot of... I made a comment about how easily it breaks, and I knit very tightly, and I didn't have a problem with the yarn while I was knitting it until I think the very end. My biggest trouble was if I was trying to pull it out of my bag, it would get stuck in the little cake, and that's when it would break. It wouldn't break while I was knitting it, but it knit up beautifully. So I think I'm going to give their loft a chance because it's so soft, it's so warm. Poor Jake wore it all Christmas and just sweat everywhere because he was so hot, because it was like 70 degrees on Christmas. So I knit a sweater. It's my first sweater. It's massive. Okay, we're good. So yeah, sweater done. First sweater, massive. And we already have, as you saw last week, his next sweater picked out, which I didn't put in the show notes, which I will try to remember this week. I can get my show notes out of the Christmas tree. So let's double check that. Yep. Oh, we also have two other finished objects. So I mentioned the other week that I did an advent calendar swap with Melissa, who in her last episode knew she sent me something. No, knew I sent her something. But yes, Melissa, you did send me stuff, and I love all of it so much. I'm still not going to show everything because I like to keep some things to myself, but I will show the yarn. And so I knit up the first 2 weeks. So this is Zia Wools, and this was Lark's Head. And so I turned them into tiny little sweaters for my Christmas tree. I have to weave in all the ends. I think I'm going to do that when I finish all the sweaters. But they're so adorable. So technically I've knit 4 sweaters, because I did knit a sweater for a doll named Mr. Moose, but that's at Mr. Moose's house with him. And the owner, Mr. Moose, a 5-year-old, I believe, he's already commissioned like 6 more sweaters from me. So I love them. I just love the pinks and the teals and the way they play off each other in this one. And I don't think my camera's gonna get it, but there's this like blood red right there that I am just in love with in this one, which is just gonna make my color go crazy. But yay! I have all the other mini skeins that she sent me caked up and ready to go, so I just have to sit down and knit them. So those are my other sweaters that I finished, so I guess you could say I'm on a sweater kick for this holiday season. And I believe that's it for all of our finished objects. Yes, so on to works in progress, which are not a lot. Yep, finish that. So I didn't want to start anything too big because I do want to start fresh on the new year, because there is 1.5 million knit-alongs starting. I like to start with all of them. I have yet to finish with one. So nothing too big, but I did start did I knit one? No, I didn't. Okay. I cast on for the Little Bobbins Knits with Danny in her podcast, the Christmas Eve sock cast on. And so I have this super mushy and lanolin-y, so my hands get so moistened. Oh, sorry. So lotioned while I knit it. It's a CVM Romneydale blend that I got at the Coventry Farmers Market. So they're going to be sort of super thick boot house socks. Now we are dropping stitches. We are playing a little bit of yarn chicken, if you can't tell. I've run out of the dark brown about halfway through my foot, and this is all I have left for the light brown. So we'll see if we can make it. If not, she is Connecticut local, so hopefully I can get a hold of her to get at least a skein of the dark brown so I can finish the feet. I split the skeins up into 2 balls, so then I have everything already split up for each sock. So we'll see. This is going by, I mean, I cast this on Christmas Eve. I knit the heel during my knitting group on Saturday mornings because I'm the 25-year-old who hangs out at Panera and knits in the morning every Saturday. So I did the heel turn and the decreases at my knitting group, and then I did the what I have of the foot last night while watching a movie. So it's been a super quick knit on. I mean, it's size 5 clover bamboo needles, and I think I cast on maybe 56 stitches, maybe 50. So it's very thick, it's very warm, and I'm so excited to wear them. And we've got my little very wintry bee progress keeper, and it's living in my Once Upon a Corgi bee bag. So I have a feeling this is going to be the year of not using my own project bags. I love them, but there's so many other project bags out there, I can't just limit myself. Why do that? So that's progress number 1 and number 2. I told myself this was going to be the only thing I really work on until the new year, just to sort of work on my own stuff and to put a dent in it. And it's my Cozy Memories blanket, and I got a lot done, I think. So last time I showed you, I think I had these 3 done, or up to here, and so I knit. This row is also the mystery opal that I got from a swap, and then these 3 are mine. So this is my Goodnight Moon colorway on my Audrey base, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon. And then this is our oyster shell from the Lamb's Pride socks. And then this is Witching Hour, which is my fig base, so the 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 10% stellina. So my plan is to do, so these were all from a swap, so I'm going to do a swap group, and then I'm going to do a row of my yarns, and then I'm going to do another swap. So this will be the next swap that I got. So not Jenny's, the one before that. And then I'll do another row of my yarns, and then another, and then I'll do Jenny's swap, because I don't knit that quickly through these. A lot of these are from, like these ones I just bought at a yarn store. So I think I'll fill in the gaps between the swaps, so then I sort of have a border like, oh, I know this one's mine, so then these ones must be Carrie's or Chelsea's or whoever sent them to me. So it's about 1.5 corgis wide now. I'm gonna knit it across, I think I'm gonna go for maybe a queen size. I'm gonna use my bed to measure, and then once I get the length I want, I'll start knitting up. So there you are. I'm gonna try and put 3 more squares in today after I do some work. So I am on vacation for my day job, but I'm hoping to use this time to pretend like I have a full Etsy shop business and do that. So those are our 2 works in progress in knitting wise. This sort of goes into stash building, but it is works in progress. So for spinning works in progress, I forgot what this is called. Black Bear? Does it say? No. I think it's called a Black Bear, Black Bottom Spindle, Navajo Spindle, one of the 2. But I got it for Christmas. It's a top whirl, but instead of spinning it like you do, you sort of just roll it along your leg, and usually you'd be sitting cross-legged, or I'll just sit in a chair normally. And so it's a little weird because the charging is having it flip off the end, and then I'm not going to be able to do this on camera. I can barely do this normally. But it's a long draw spindle kind of thing, and I'm awful at it, but I'm getting better, as you can tell. So it's getting pretty even now. There's not as many slugs. I did do, my brother showed me, because he got one for Christmas as well. So we just sat at the table and figured out how to spin on them. So here's my first little skein. It's beautiful. It's definitely fart yarn, but I think it's wonderful. I've just been skeining it up and putting it on my Christmas tree. The cat is fighting the dog in the Christmas tree right now. So, it's been a big improvement. Ooh, I'm spinning it the wrong way. So yeah, I mean, we went from that to that in maybe a week. So it's been good. I like it. It's different. I like how I think it's helping me not spin the fiber too much. I think I'm putting too much of a spin in it, and so it's getting a little bit ropey. It's definitely, letting me know this isn't going to work because it's not letting me draft it, but it will just break if it's not got enough spin in it. So I think it's really fun. I've got a braid of mohair and wool, it looks super pretty and dainty. It's like a corally peach pink, but it's just got such a rustic feel, and this creates such a rustic looking single and thus yarn. So I think I might do that after I finish this little bit of practice yarn. So, stash building number 1. In our next spinning, if you watch or follow me on Instagram, you already know. So we'll give you a hint. It comes on a bobbin. Let's see if I can get him over here. Well, her over here. Come here. Oh, nope. You get to see the cat a little bit. Ta-da! Angry cat. We got a spinning wheel. Ah. She is a bluebonnet honey and ply. Yes, bluebonnet honey and ply, and I want to say it's a fairly new spinning wheel company. I saw her at the New England Fiber Festival. We were looking for the Merlin tree stand because I tried out their hitchhiker wheel, and then they have a modified Ashford so that you can fold it up and it locks in place so you can travel with it, which is really what I wanted. I wanted a wheel that I could travel with, or that I could, okay, the dog started going nuts again. Yes, I saw one at the New England Fiber Festival when I went with my brother and my mom, and I was on the hunt for the, Ashford kiwi through the Merlin tree because they do modify it so you can flip up the petals and it becomes smaller and you can travel with it easier. And so we were just walking around and I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, oh, that wheel's got a bee on it. How adorable. So I took a picture. Then I went home and I Googled it, and it looks still like a fairly new2 You buy the wheel off Etsy, but you can go on their website and read all about the makers, the difference between, I think they've got 2 or 3 different wheels now, and everything, and then you just go on Etsy and buy it. Excuse me. So I talked to my parents, and I said I wanted one for Christmas, so we got me one for Christmas. Oops, still attached. Let's see if we can do this. I don't know, it won't fit. So I did get the honey and ply folds up. I'll put a picture in. Actually, no, I won't put a picture in. It does come, you can get a choice to get it unfinished or finished. They chose to get it unfinished. It's cheaper. Finishing is something fairly simple that you can do by yourself. You don't need any crazy amount of skill to do it, and then you can kind of choose if you want to stain it a certain color. I know they have a couple stain options, but I finished it in just the natural oil We use Danish oil, and I'm going to include a little video photo montage here of us sanding it, staining it, and then putting it back together, just to kind of see how simple it really was. Jake does have experience with woodworking, so I kind of lucked out on that one. But I'll link to the blog, but I found a bunch of articles and blog posts and stuff on how they went through when they finished it. So I will put that here, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed it. And with that, I will show you. This is the second bobbin of yarn that I've spun on the wheel, but it's much more even, and I think it's going on quite nicely. This is 100% Mashland wool that I dyed on the Great Dye Day of August. It was naturally gray, so then I overdyed it with reds and oranges and I think a little bit of yellow. So I've had the wheel for not even a week and I've already finished a braid basically. I have, I think, one more bump left that I split off. And then I went on Craftsy and all of their classes are half off. I know it's only till the end of the year and it's already the 29th or 30th. I think it's the 30th. It's the 30th. Shh. Wind. Wind. Quiet. But all of their classes are half off till the end of the year, so hop on that. I got their ply to knit class, just a class on plying. They're going to teach you chain ply, 3-ply, 2-ply, Navajo plying, I believe. So I got that, I think, for $10. Totally worth it. You get them forever once you pay for them. So I've bought probably 3 or 4 classes off them already, plus the bazillion free ones that I have lined up in my wish list. But yeah, I'm super excited. I'm waiting for, I didn't get any oil with it. This is also an unfinished bobbin. Here's all my finished bobbins are put away. Yeah, once I take these off, I'll finish the bobbin. I didn't get any spinning wheel oil with it. I was reading online that you can use sewing machine oil or like olive oil or vegetable oil, but I was just too scared to do any damage. So I ordered some off Woolery, and I'm just waiting for it to come in. I did go on a mild yarn shop hopping fiasco looking for some. I went to two or three different yarn shops, and the one that had the oil sold out their last bottle like 2 days before. So, I'm waiting for that to come in, along with some more dyes to get some dyeing done this week. And I think that's it for the big stash building thing. I didn't get any yarn for Christmas. Not mad. I have a lot. I don't have a lot compared to most, but I have more than my shelf can hold. So, I guess on to shop update stuff. I do have an Etsy shop, OnceUpon.etsy.com. It is emptying out fairly quickly. I do have... the cat's mad. He can't get in my closet. Yeah, that will expire, I believe, the first holiday for 15% off. And we were trying to make room for kits. I want to start making like a project bag, a skein of yarn, and a progress keeper kit kind of thing. So we have our first set of bag fabric cut out. And I'm going for like a tea time, garden-y, vintagey kind of thing. So I have a lot of fabric coming in from the internets. This is what I picked up at Joann's. So this is our first bag, and it's gonna go with a white, like a creamy white canvas bottom, and I got a really nice text print lining, which when I put a bag together I will show you. So that'll be the bag parts, and then I did get one color down. I haven't decided completely on the fiber content. This is just on my Audrey base, so the BFL nylon. But here it is. I'm calling it Secret Garden, and it's got all these pale yellows and reds and blues and these faint purples and shades of green. And I just really like the way it turned out. I'm hoping to do maybe 2 or 3 different yarn color choices, and then maybe 2 bases. I'm thinking a luxury base and a gold stellina sparkle base. So maybe I'll put a poll in this week's thread about what kind of bases you guys would want to see, or what kind of colors you guys would want to see more of. So, yeah. See if I can scan this up. I don't know why I always feel like I have to unscan them to show you. Whatever. So that's it for shop updates. I'm hoping to get all of these up by the end of the month. I do have some more dyes coming in, so I'm going to play with some dye colors and then order it and just spend one full day dyeing everything. So, oh, I almost forgot. In my stash building, Molly from Homespun House had mentioned how she bought a pair of the straight carbons just for her Cozy Memories blanket, and how she really wanted to just have a set of needles specially for the blanket. It's a special project. It should have its own special needles. And so I started kind of looking at that, like, this is going to be a very long-term project. Maybe I should just set aside some needles for it. And so I was looking at the Carbon straight set, and I was just like, maybe I'll give it a whirl. And then I remembered that my size 4 Dreams were still broken, and no one's gotten back to me about it. No local yarn stores had any in stock. They only have the big chunky needles. So I went off and I bought 2 sets of the Carbons, one for my interchangeables, and then one a fixed circular, which I needed for the sweater first. So I use it for the sweater, and now these are solely my memory blanket needles. So I love the way these are knitting up. I've knit on maybe 3 or 4 different bases, and it's just fantastic. It's got just enough grip. I'm not worried about anything sliding off. It's just small enough that I'm not wrestling with a huge wire for these tiny little squares. And it's really nice to just sort of have a set of needles just for your blanket. So you know these are your Cozy Memory needles. So I figured treat yourself. Why not? And then I have these ones to replace my Dreams interchangeables. I haven't used them yet, but they look very nice in my case. And I think that's finally it. Because I'm still just watching Gilmore Girls and West Wing. And I started watching Man in the High Castle, which is this fantastic post World War II if the powers won. So the US is split into 3 sections. East Coast is Third Reich Nazi occupation, and then the Midwest is sort of neutral zone, and then about the Rockies west is Japanese colonies, and it's super interesting. Probably 6 or 7 episodes in, but it's really good. Kind of like how different would America be if we lost Europe and then everyone came to us, because we only had the few tragic incidents where the World War II brought it to our land. So that was super neat to see, and how each side of the country became different, and then how Nazi Germany and Japan sort of conflict with each other, even though they're supposed to be now the world powers. It's really interesting. It's on Amazon Prime Instant Video, so definitely check that out if you're a history buff, which I am. It's fantastic. So, our book section this week, in light of the new Star Wars film, it's the Shakespeare version of A New Hope. I love it. I found it. I was Christmas shopping for my family, and I stumbled upon one, and I was just like, this needs to be in my life. I'm still fairly close in. I just got to the point where R2-D2 runs away to go find Obi-Wan. Spoilers. I'll go to the beginning. It's definitely something that if you were reading with a small child and they were a little more, I don't want to say advanced, it's not like it's got terribly hard words in it, but it is Old English, so, I mean, read it with them, help them with it. This would be a great, this is an any age book. It's fantastic. If you love Star Wars and B Shakes, I highly recommend it. They have all 6 books out. Jake, sorry, Adrian, I'm gonna spoil your podcast next month. Jake bought all 6 for everyone in my family. So, it's great. I love it. It's gotten so many good looks on the train. I'm in debate whether train knitting or Star Wars Shakespeare gets me weirder looks. So I'll let you know on that one. I've gotten 2 double takes with this, and then one really like... So, I love it. Ugh. And then our second book is an audiobook. So, I just stopped saying so. I say that a lot. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. I got into audiobooks because of the Romanov sisters. Oops, it's playing. And then I just sort of jumped into it with all the French books, so I can just listen to people speak French, and so I'm looking for more French books. As one does when they're looking at French things, they stumble upon a certain servantless American cook named Julia Child. So I downloaded... Oh, that's so blown out. Oh, maybe I can... It's called My Life in France by Julia Child, and it's narrated by Kimberly Farr. Let's stop playing. Maybe that works. There we go. It's not the book of letters between her sister and then Paul and his twin brother, but it's a autobiography / biography by Julia Child with an editor, I believe. So it's fantastic recollection of her life. She does a quick recap of pre-France, but it really starts when her and Paul moved to France for the first time. Right now they're in their 2nd year of France. Oh, and it's fantastic. I love Julia Child. The movie Julie and Julia came out I think when I was in college. Yeah, I had my laptop, and I just fell in love with it, and so we just sort of fell in love with Julia. My mom and I both got both of her cookbooks. She bought me a duck for Christmas. Not for Christmas. She bought me a duck for my birthday so we could make, oh, what is the recipe? It's a deboned duck stuffed with veal and then wrapped in a pastry dough. And it was good. We messed up a couple times. We got really frustrated because it was like an 8-hour ordeal to debone this duck with a very dull boning knife and then cook it, and then realized we missed a crucial step where you're supposed to like fry the duck a little bit before you wrap it in dough. So I don't know, it's gonna sound grosser than it actually was, but it was still very good. And we make boeuf bourguignon all the time, not all the time, but enough that we almost have the recipe kind of down. You can see the indents in both of our cookbooks where like the mushroom recipe is that you need for it, or the onion section is that you need for it. I love it. I love her book. So she also got another cookbook by Julia, and she got the letters between Julia and her sister Dorothy and Paul and his brother. I want to say Freddie, but I don't think that's it. Eddie. Ed? Sorry, guys. But yeah, if you're a Julia Child fan, I definitely recommend checking that out. The narrator does great Julia Child voices, so definitely worth listening to. It's sort of my run errands audiobook in the car because it's not anything too heavy. I can stop it and start it up again without really missing anything too drastically. And I believe that is it. I showed you my spinning, I showed you my yarn. The puppies are asleep, thank goodness. Yeah, I'm on vacation from Real World Job for the week until the 4th of January, so it's full-time project bag making, ordering, and sewing until then, / application season is coming quickly. I've got a couple days to get my first 2 applications out, and then I've got probably another 10 days until the second wave is due. If you can hear that, it's my neighbors downstairs slamming their doors and coughing and stomping. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't have any 2015 goals because I wasn't really planning on anything, but there are a lot of knit-alongs starting, so I just kind of wanted to go over what my 2016 goals were. Did I write them down? Yes. So, the biggest goals were I wanted to do 12 pairs of socks for me, and not just sort of plain vanilla socks. A couple of them are going to be, but do different techniques, like try different pattern, try different heel, that kind of thing. Like I have, I'm counting the Christmas cast-on socks as one of them because it is a thicker yarn and a bigger needle gauge, and I did the Eye of Partridge heel on it. I've never done that before. So that'll be sock number 1, and then I have, I want to do an afterthought heel. I want to do the Pearl Soho pixel socks. I want to do a lace sock, kind of broaden my pattern horizon, but also do it on something quick enough that I can figure it out, get it down, and then whip out another one and be like, I did it! I have socks! And not try and learn a new technique on something big like a shawl or a sweater or something. I want to knit 2 sweaters for myself. So I want to do at least 1 cardigan and then do a Rhinebeck sweater. Probably I have the little brown cardigan by O Wool saved up, and then I do want to do a featherweight cardigan. I haven't decided which will be my Rhinebeck sweater. Depends on how cold Rhinebeck is this year. If it's as cold as last year, I might just wear all of the sweaters. So, and then the next knitty, sewy one is I want to have 2 to 3 handmade outfits complete. So I'm going to do a version of the zinnia skirt. Jenny from the Tiny Paper Foxes podcast is working on one. One of the versions has buttons in the front, so I want to do that one in like a dark teal. Yeah, like a dark blue, dark teal, almost navy, I think. And then I want to knit a cardigan to go with that. And then I also want to knit a Wendy top to go with it. So then when I'm not wearing the cardigan, I can wear the knit top. Unless, how do you feel about knit tops and knit cardigans together in one outfit? Is that too much knits? Is there too much knits? Yeah, so that's one outfit, one or two outfits I want to do. And then I did get a couple dress patterns from my friend for Christmas. So I want to do something with those, maybe get a couple dresses cut out with those, and then sort of work my way through my wardrobe and get more of a handmade wardrobe. Less of a, right now everything's just old college stuff that doesn't fit / I haven't worn in forever. Yeah, trying to update what I can wear, since I can't really wear that much at work because it is a dirty, messy chemistry lab that I basically work in, so I don't want to make a lot of nice things and then not have anything I can actually wear to work. So that's knitting plans. I didn't know this was a thing. I thought I was making this up, but this is the knitting world. Everything's basically been made up. Jeanette was talking about, I'm going to put a link in it. I don't remember the name. I didn't write it down. I was watching her podcast yesterday, and there's a group on Ravelry about a spin the bin. I don't remember the group's name, but their thing was spin the bin. And so you pick out 12 braids of fiber, one for each month, and you put it in a bin. And then you have to spin everything in that bin by the end of the year. And I think the rule was if you get to the braid, like say you get to June's braid, you don't like June's braid anymore, you can switch it out, but you have to replace it with 2 braids. So it's more incentive to spin what you have and what you first picked and not sort of like willy-nilly change it out. So I want to do something like that now that I have Edgar over here, my creme de la Edgar. So I went through all my fiber. I don't have 12 braids. I have 9 total, including a loop bump. And the little sock fiber things I got. One was like a 2-ounce braid, and one was a little 4-ounce braid, and one was a little 2-ounce braid for contrasting heels and toes. So including those 2, I only have 9 things of fiber. So my plan is to spin everything before Rhinebeck. Yes, that'll be about even. So then spin 1 thing a month before Rhinebeck. I think my last thing's going to be my loop back because I really want that to turn out nice because it's so pretty. So I don't want to mess it up. But I don't think I'm going to do everything on my wheel, and I think that'll help me motivate to learn new techniques, get better at what I do know for my wheel, and to do the Navajo spindle, get that going, and just sort of hone in on my skills with that. So I think that's going to be my spinning goal for 2016, is to spin all of my fiber before the major festivals start happening, because I did get a lot of fiber at those. Yeah, and so, I didn't go over, well, for more knitty, because there is a lot of cast-ons happening on the 31st and 1st. If you watch Eric's podcast, Sticks Plus Twine, he's having a men's accessories cast-on starting tomorrow / the 1st. So I'm recasting on the Hulk socks for Jake. And I'm also going to do the handbrake cowl that Jenny and Eric both did. I was going to do a scarf for him, but Jake also wanted to learn how to knit this vacation, so I taught him how to knit, and he's working on a scarf of his own right now. I'm not going to show you because I didn't ask if I could show it on the podcast. But it's turning out very nice for a beginner scarf. He's picked it up quite quickly, and he loves it. It's too funny to watch. It's so adorable. He just sort of goes and he goes, "What's this do?" And then like yarns over and then like increases 15 stitches, and he's like, "Oh, that's what that does. How do I make this go away?" And then he figures out how to decrease it. He hasn't like looked anything up yet. He just sort of does a stitch and then asks me what it is. So I think I might get him a Stitch dictionary to put in our library. So I'm going to do the handbrake cowl in a dark gray for him. And I figured that would also be an easy enough knit that if you wanted to take a whack at it, you could maybe do a couple pattern repeats and kind of get the hang of reading a pattern, not just sort of making it up as he goes. And then there's also a shawl knit along. I know Jeanette is hosting it, and I believe one other person is hosting it with her. And so I got the Bonbon shawl pattern from Isabel from the Fluffy Fibers, and I've caked up my 100 Ravens. It's a single worsted weight in the Jon Snow and Raven's Wing colorway. So it's like a light, dark, white, light, dark gray, light and dark gray and white variegation for the Jon Snow, and then a dark gray to black variegation for the Raven's Wing. And so I'm going to do a gradation essentially from the Jon Snow into the Raven's Wing for the Bonbon shawl, and that'll be my like at-home ready cuddly shawl, because it is a single. So from what I've heard, they pill easily, but it's so mushy and warm, I'll just wear it around the house. So that's all of my January 1st cast on. The other cast ons I have planned that I have the yarn for is Melissa oh so kindly gifted me buffalo wool mini skeins, which I didn't grab, which I should have, during our advent calendar swap, which has spoiled me rotten. She is planning to do one for next year, for next Christmas, and I'm already counting myself in for that. I know a lot of people bought them this year, and I thought that was a fantastic thing, and I wish I hopped on that bandwagon, but I'm glad I didn't, because I don't know what I would do with 25 mini skeins. It's so many. It's so much Christmas knitting I wouldn't have time to do. So we just did the 6. We did the 4 weeks of Christmas, Christmas Eve and Christmas. I think that was just the perfect amount. It's not too much, it's not too little. I was able to sneak a couple extra gifts in there, so I'm definitely excited to do this again next year. But for her Christmas Day, she gave me 2 packs of Buffalo Wool Company, their Too Sexy lace weight. So I'm thinking, I got the Can shawl from one of the giveaways out of Jenny's podcast, so I'm thinking I might do the big skein that Ron sent me for the body of the Can shawl, and then just do a gradation of all the, I think I got 4, there's 4 different colors, so I might do a gradation of the 4 colors in the braid, or maybe do a gradation of the mini skeins for the body, and then do the tan braid, but then just sort of figure out the color work into it, but do those 2 together and just sort of have like a super soft reminder shawl of like all the friends that you make in this great community kind of thing. Just sort of like, oh, I got this pattern from Jenny, and I got these mini skeins and this skein really from Melissa, because if she didn't ask the question, I never would have answered, and then I never would have gotten such a great soft present. So those are my big cast on things for 2016, which starts very soon. And I think that's it for us. Yeah, no big puppy news. Everybody's sleeping. They had a fantastic Christmas. They both got giant bones. They got stockings full of these weird little rawhide lollipops, which are just adorable. They've already killed most of their presents. I got them a couple stuffed animals. I've already ripped them in half. Let's see if I can grab Snake. Oh, no. Almost. Okay. They've got their indestructible squeaky snake. Ooh, they killed him. I don't want to drive anyone else's dogs nuts, so I won't squeak them. They love them, and I got them a couple stuffingless dolls, which are a godsend. They crinkle, but there's nothing for them to rip out. There you go. So they've just been living in a fat bliss of puppy treats and running around with their new toys and then taking naps in their new beds. So it's been great being home with them. And I guess with that, I think we're done. Yeah, I will have the show notes up on OnceUponACorgi.wordpress.com. Check us out. I'll put a link to all the wheel stuff there, the Blue Bonnet website, the website where I got a lot of the helpful information for staining it. Feel free to join the Ravelry group. Come say hello. If not, that's cool. Whatever. And yeah, thank you for checking us out. I hope you guys have a wonderful new year, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Bye!